Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm all that Pat for the New York Nerd Show, representing Slam Nation Wrestling. We did just get some breaking news that legendary WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, has passed away at the age of 71. Recently, from what not even rumors, obviously at this point, what the news had been that Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff had been in failing health at the age of 71. Unfortunately, that is relatively common. Orndorff had quite a legendary career. One of his most famous things was that he main evented the original WrestleMania, teaming with Roddy Piper to go up against Mr. T from Hollywood, with the immortal Hulk Hogan. That was, again, that's what set the standard for WrestleMania, WWE, or WWF main eventing at that time. That basically, that was a big piece of getting the brand off on the right foot. And Orndorff was trusted with that, that job, like that ability. Now, Orndorff and Hulk Hogan had quite the rivalry over the years, because basically Hogan and Orndorff originally on the screen were actually considered, friends, comrades, so to speak. And then Orndorff basically ended up turning on Hulk Hogan, leading to a huge amount of feuding, including a very well-known match that I believe took place in Toronto, Canada. It was a steel cage match. And in that match, basically Hogan did pull off the victory, but it was, check it out, by the way, I'm sure it's on peak at this moment. Basically, they had a finish, a full finish, so to speak, where both men ended up landing on the ground at the same time, but it was revealed that, Hogan would win it. Again, we do appreciate you coming in right now. I just got news that Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff did pass away. I think it was today. Was 71. Now, to me, I actually started watching wrestling in 1992. That's why, if anybody asked me, my two favorite wrestlers were actually Macho Man Randy Savage and Bret the Hitman Hart, because those two were quite honestly in the main event picture. Macho with the WWF Championship and Bret with the Intercontinental. But around that time, Orndorff was actually working in WCW, World Championship Wrestling. He was tag teaming with Paul Roma. So the pair of Pauls were actually tag teaming as a group called Pretty Wonderful. When I started watching WCW wrestling at that moment, at that time, that's where I was exposed to Paul Orndorff, was actually in the tag team of Pretty Wonderful. They did win the tag team titles multiple times over there, and that was my, introduction to him. I believe he did also win the WCW Intercontinental. I apologize. I'm kind of like, this just all came up right now. But he was a television champion, I believe, as well. One of the things that I noticed about Paul Orndorff when I, did end up he came into my world, so to speak, was, first of all, he had one heck of a pile driver. He basically had a squatting pile driver, for the lack of a better explanation. So he would actually have the guy up in a squatting position, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then nail him with it. Which, again, that is such a again, I'm not a professional wrestler, but that would probably take a lot of quad strength. I could be completely honest with you. And, when you see that, I apologize. I'm trying to pull up some pictures, but it's not working, obviously. Another thing, too, is unfortunately he did have an arm injury basically early on in his career in the WWF, and he didn't want to take off time because he was on such a hot program with Hulk Hogan. And, he ended up having physical atrophy in his left arm, I believe it was. Again, I'm just a huge fan. I cannot even pretend to tell you that I know the ins and outs of everything about Paul Orndorff, but I do know what I know, right? And like I said, he was a big deal in the 1980s. In the 1990s, this is something that I learned about with WrestleCrap, completely honest with you. If you know what WrestleCrap is, it's WrestleCrap.com. They cover everything that is ridiculous in the world of professional wrestling. And he actually had I'm trying to say, he had basically a little bit of a storyline where he had a well-known inspirational talker in his in his corner for a little while. This guy had like a ridiculous afro. And he would talk about how, like, Mr. Wonderful is not so wonderful anymore, and that he really wants to get him back to where he should be. And that was one of those, it was almost one of the last things you ever saw Paul Orndorff do, to be completely honest. And that's what we would see, right? Is that Paul Orndorff would be kind of like trying to get the inspirational talk back into his to his life. But again, he did appear a couple times on WWE television, where he'd come out with this ridiculous theme song about being, he's wonderful, Mr. Wonderful. And you want to share this video, please do, right? Give some likes and subscribes, and I'll stop singing. But no, like I said, the bottom line is I do want to kind of hit you guys up with some breaking news. Hello, Exotic Sharky. Do appreciate you coming on today for sure. Just letting you know that, again, a WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, has passed away at the age of 71. It's a big loss, obviously, in the world of professional wrestling, especially, to be honest with you, with those that have been watching wrestling since the 1980s. Some fans these days have not been exposed to Paul Orndorff. He's kind of been, he's not really featured that much, honestly, in the world of professional wrestling. I hope and expect that WWE Monday Night Raw will probably show a little bit of a, if not a full-blown tribute, at least a 10-bell salute before Raw starts, if nothing else. Because, again, WrestleMania 1 would not have happened had Mr. Wonderful not been a part of it with, his tag team partner. It definitely, Exotic Sharky, I agree with you. Just the whole idea that, again, he had such a hot feud. Him and Piper got on, Piper's bad side, so just all those, videos, that they appeared in, cross promotionally with the world of pop culture, him and Piper and Cowboy Bob Orndorff, who was also in their corner. Again, bottom line is this just happened, and I'm kind of like, thinking about all the things that I remember of Paul Orndorff. I can't, like I said, I can't pretend that I'm a massive, expert on Paul Orndorff, but I definitely did know who he was, because, again, once I got into wrestling in 1992, I did start working my way backwards. And, again, he was such a big, important, feature in those first 2 years of Hulkamania, before Andre really got involved. So, it's an important piece of WWF trivia in history. So, again, we do thank you for joining us for this breaking news. Because, again, unfortunately, we're having a lot of breaking news recently, whether it have been New Jack 2 weeks ago, Bailey on Friday, and today, Paul Orndorff. It happens, unfortunately. The key thing is that, we help these people, whether in our personal life or professional life, pop culture, whatever it is, keep these people in our minds and try to help them, create a legacy. Because, again, it is what it is. Once we're gone, and we want to keep those names, fresh in the world. We do want to kind of just let you know that we do a variety of different shows on the Slam Nation. Later on tonight, we will be doing Crazy Card Collecting. That's a show where I show a bunch of different pop culture trading cards for over the last 35 years. Tonight, I believe I'm going to be showing a new piece from Topps. They actually did a series called Trashy Treasures, and they have a bunch of different ceramic garbage pail kids, as weird as it sounds, and they have different trading cards. I actually have 2 of them, and I'm going to open up tonight to see what we have in there, if we have any chase cards. I have 2 Nasty Nicks. Tomorrow, again, we talk about wrestling, Slam Nation Wrestling, emanating from last show in the Thunderdome, actually. We're going to talk about what happened on Friday Night SmackDown and what happens tomorrow, or tonight, I should say. Wednesday, it's the Game Room. Going to be probably talking about Jumanji, believe it or not, on the Nintendo Switch. I picked that up recently, and I've got a lot to say about that. It's not well regarded, I will say that, and I got some back and forth. Thursday, I Stream, You Stream. Lord Cash, Bitteritz, and myself are going to be talking about the final episode of Loki on Disney+. Hopefully, they hit the switch in the right way. Hopefully they finish off the strong series with an amazing finale. Friday is Funko Royalty. Saturday is Mail Call Mail Time. And Sunday, we do Call of the Wild. Well, thank you so very much for joining me today for this breaking news. If you enjoyed this, I know it was short notice, but if you enjoyed any of our programming, I really do appreciate if you do share the word of the nerd. Subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, or all 3. Give us a like, whatever it is. We have fun doing this, honestly. Not making money on it. We have other jobs and stuff, but I don't know, it's just fun. Again, the bottom line is, and Johnny 66, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, rest in peace, Paul Orndorff, for sure. Hopefully they do show some remembrance for him tonight. And even if they don't, go look at Peacock and WWE Network, especially like in the early or late 1980s on WWE parts, like the WrestleMania. WrestleMania 1, really, he didn't do much else after that in WWE, at least on WrestleMania standpoint. Anyway, we do appreciate it, everything, and remember, appreciate everybody while you can, for certain. And that goes for everybody, not pop culture related, but, I'll get off my standpoint, a soapbox, whatever it is. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And we'll see you hopefully later tonight at 8 p.m. for crazy card collecting. Until then, I've been All That Pat. You've been awesome. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the New York Nerd Show, and all of our different shows. Adios, everybody.